welcome back to the Beach Bum Bookworm. I am Tiffany. I'm so glad y'all found me again today. My channel is all about cozy mysteries and romance books, and today I'm doing my September wrap-up. All the cozies I read in the month of September. Let me tell you, I didn't read a whole lot this month. It was my worst reading month of the year. However, what I did do was go and visit my husband and family in Illinois and Missouri for like 2.5 weeks. I listened to some stuff on the way there and back, but I didn't spend any time there reading. I spent and absorbed as much as I could with my family and friends who I haven't seen in a very long time. It was amazing. I also had my grandmother here at my house for a couple days during the hurricane, and I spent all that time playing Skippo, and just, it was wonderful. However, in that case, I didn't have as much that I read. It's okay. It's in the grand scheme of things, I regret nothing. All right. However, let's not focus on what I didn't read. Let's talk about what I did, because I had some good ones. I also had one that was my very favorite. I'll tell you about that at the end of the video. Let me know what your favorite read of the month was. Anything else that you want to talk about, down in the comments is the place to do it. On your way down to comment, don't forget to stop and hit the subscription and the notification bell. Notification bell is going to tell you when I put out new videos each and every single week, so you don't miss anything. And the subscription keeps my channel growing, and I'm so very, very thankful for you guys because I'm having so much fun. And I couldn't do it without you. All right, let's get into it. We're looking at the cozy mysteries I read in September in 3, 2, 1, go! Let's talk about announcements. First of all, let's address that it's October. Oh, it's the best time of the year. Absolute best time of the year. So excited for it. This week, there are reading sprints on, I believe it's Storm's channel, from Storm Reads. Her and Lee from Dark Roots Creations. They are both amazing and have amazing channels. Make sure you go and check out them and subscribe. They flip-flop each week. They are at 7 p.m. Eastern, but this week, again, I believe it's on Storm's channel. On Wednesday, reading sprints on Sarah's channel from The Bookish Knitter, also at 7 p.m. Her and I switch off weeks. On Saturday, we have the Killing Time with Cozies. It is our scavenger hunt paranormal read. We did not plan that. The wheel just gave it to us, which is, it's so funny. I think it knows the time of year because it also gave us an appropriate read for Valentine's Day, and there was another one that just fit, and it's, I don't know, the wheel knows. Anyways, paranormal for this Saturday, live at noon. That is Eastern time as well. Don't forget to check out the Halloween bingo board challenge. It started yesterday. I just started my first book for that. I'll tell you what that is on another day. Let us know if you're taking part in the bingo board challenge, what you're reading, your TBR. When you get a bingo, when you get a blackout, it's going to be so much fun. All right. For right now, though, let's talk about my wrap-up. The first book that I read was Bread of the Dead, right here. This is the first book in the Santa Fe Cafe Cozy Mystery series by Ann Myers. I loved this book. But let me tell you, I should have waited and read it this month. It was perfect. So our main character, Rita, she is newly divorced. And she is working at, let me look at the name of the cafe, Tres Amigas Cafe. This takes place in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So it checked off my New Mexico state for the Cozy Mystery Road Trip Challenge. They are getting ready for Santa Fe's Day of the Dead Bread Baking Challenge. Like I said, it would have been perfect for this time of year, and I really recommend this. It was so good. While all of this is going on with the Day of the Dead, the bread contest and all that, Rita's landlord ends up dead, and the police don't think it's foul play. They actually think it's suicide, and Rita knows that that's not the case, so she's going to investigate. I absolutely loved it. I gave it 4.5 cups of coffee. The setting is amazing. You know, with the Day of the Dead, there's so many colors, and it was so well, like, descripted. Oh, it was just so much fun. I can't wait to read the second one. I think I'm going to try to read the second one this month for one of the bingo board challenges. It was so good. Next up, I read Pumpkins in Paradise. Apparently, I read all the books that would probably fit into the bingo board challenge last month. Not that there's not obviously gazillions more, but I'm just saying, I just think it's funny. This is the first book in the TJ Jensen Cozy Mystery series by Kathy Daly. I loved this book. It was so cozy. I gave it 4.5 cups of coffee. There is going to be a pumpkin festival. Our main character, TJ, she takes care of her little sisters. I think there's 2 of them. 2 or 3. Sorry. And there is this guy who's kind of reclusive in town. He's an older man. She met him because she was kind of dared when she was younger to, he was like known as the house that had the person living in it that was mean, or maybe, something evil about him, that sort of thing. And so she was dared by her friends to go into the house. It was like right around Halloween time. She ends up meeting this man and they become lifelong friends, which I think is amazing. He ends up dead and she's trying to figure out what is going on. The whole thing was just so cozy. The pumpkin festival, the town, the description. I absolutely loved this and I can't wait to read the next one in the series. Next up, I read Portside Peril. This is the second book in the cruise ship series by Hope Callahan. Our main character is Millie. She is an assistant cruise director. We met her in the first book. She is newly divorced. She's like in her, I think, mid-60s. And she just decides that she's going to start a new beginning after her divorce. And she applies for a cruise ship. And here we are. Now we're in the second book. And this person falls overboard and people are trying to say it's a suicide, but then like other starts happening with the party that he was with on the ship, and suspicions start coming out that that's not really the case, and Millie is on it. She's going to figure out what's going on. I gave it 3 cups of coffee. It's a really fun theme, just being on a cruise ship. I felt like this one had a lot going on, and maybe the first one did, I'm not really sure, but overall, I'm going to continue this series. It was just, I felt like there were sometimes too many moving parts in this. A cruise ship cozy was so much fun, though. I hope to find more. I really enjoy it. Next up, I read Guaranteed to Bleed right here. This is the second book in the Country Club Murders by Julie Mulhern. I gave this 2.5 cups of coffee, probably rounded up to 3. It was more of the theme and what was going on in the book. I love the country club setting, and it's set in the 70s, which is amazing. But this is the second book I didn't really feel like had themes that weren't cozy, that I don't really necessarily want to read in my cozies. I know there's a lot of people that really love this series. It's long-standing. I just don't think it's for me. But the writing in it is great. Like I said, the 70s, the country club vibe, that's all a lot of fun. Next up, we have Murder Under the Mistletoe. This is the 5th book in the Bite-Sized Bakery series by Rosie A. Point. So in this one, our main character, Ruby, they're in Maine. They have like a bite-sized bakery, but it's a food truck. And so they do travel some, although they've kind of been in this setting the whole time, but they often talk about in the books that they'll be moving. And this one, the same way. It's Christmas time. And I loved the Christmas feel of this. They were talking about, putting the tree in the middle of town and all the decoration and the town participating in all these events, which is right up my alley and my favorite thing about cozies. And they're getting ready to like light the town up and, like flip the switch and everything comes on and it's all magical, and they do. And the mayor is dead, like in the middle of the like displays. And of course, Ruby is going to figure out what is going on. I gave this 3 cups of coffee. It's a really cute series. I really enjoy it and I definitely will continue it. But I did really like the Christmas coziness of this book. Next up, I read another Rosie A. Point. I read The Double Cheeseburger Murder. This is the second in the Burger Bar series by, again, Rosie A. Point. So in this one, our main character, Christy, she is the suspended detective from another state. She's from Massachusetts, and she is staying with her family, and she's helping at her cousin or her best friend's burger bar. And in this one, a local artist, I believe it was, is poisoned, and Christy is kind of, sticking her nose in and wants to help investigate. And the police that are there are like, we don't want any of this. Do we need to call Massachusetts and let them know that you're not doing what you're supposed to and keeping your nose clean? It was a lot of fun. Again, this is a fun, short read. 3 cups of coffee. or 3 burgers. Next up is a new series. This was an ARC I received, so thank you to the publishers, to the author who is amazing. I've interviewed her. She's great. It's VM Burns or Valerie Burns. So I read 2 parts sugar, 1 part murder right here. This is the first book in her new series, the Baker Street Mystery series. I absolutely love this. So our main character, Maddie, she inherits a bakery and a 200-pound mastiff named Baby from her Aunt Octavia. She doesn't know anything about baking. She doesn't know anything about small town life. She's very into social media. She's a social media expert, and she does throughout the book, you see her constantly kind of putting pictures on Facebook and hashtagging them and stuff like that. I didn't really mind that. I didn't feel to me, it didn't take away or add to the book. I could have done either way. It didn't bother me being in there, but I didn't think it necessarily was something I was oh, okay, this really works in the book either. I didn't think anything of it. However, what did work was the characters. Aunt Octavia was obviously gone from the beginning of the book. She's already passed on. She felt like such a big presence in character in the book that I felt like I loved her just as much as the other ones. I love her friends that took Maddie in and helped her through the whole thing. I love the bakery. I'm just really excited for this series to continue. I thought it was so much fun. And Baby is adorable. It was just a really, really fun read. I gave it 4.5 cups of coffee. Again, it was an ARC. I can't recommend it enough. Thank you to the publishers. Thank you to Valerie Burns. It was so good. Next up, I read Last Pen Standing right here. This is the first book in the Stationery Shop Cozy Mystery series by Vivian Conroy. I just want to be completely honest and say I did not really want to read this to begin with, only because the theme is just not something I would normally pick up. I'm not a stationery person. I'm not a journaling person. It's just not my cup of tea. I picked it up solely based on the fact that it took place in Montana and I needed Montana for the Cozy Road Trip Challenge. But I am so glad I did. I gave this 5 cups of coffee. I loved it. I'm so glad that I picked it up. So our main character, Delta, her grandmother on her 30th birthday gives her inheritance. She's like, I don't want to wait till, I'm gone. I want to see what you do with the money. So she gives her inheritance. She quits her job and she buys into her best friend's stationery shop called Wanted. So she moves back home to, I think it's called Tundish, Montana. And that area was known to be a gold rush town back in the day. And so everything is kind of themed on that. The shop Wanted was their jail. So it's still kind of decorated that way. But then it's obviously a journaling stationery shop. And so in this one, they're going to do a craft night at this hotel that's also hosting this glitz and glamour gala event going on in another room. And one of the ladies from the gala, I don't know if it was actually called a gala, but from the glamour party, high society kind of thing, ends up dead. And Delta, who is our main character, her best friend, the shop that she owns the other half of, ends up as a suspect. Actually, a lot of people end up as a suspect, but she's kind of the primary as well as her brother. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I can't wait to read the next one. The characters are great. The setting is great. I just thought it was so much fun with all the Gold Rush stuff mixed in. I can't say enough about it. I'm so glad I picked it up, and it's just a testament to being more open-minded about the stuff I read. Next up, I read Gone for Gouda right here. This is the second book in the Cheese Shop series by Karina Moss. Thank you very much to the publishers. Thank you very much to Karina Moss. This was an ARC that I received from NetGalley, and holy moly, y'all, this was an amazing book. I was a little bit worried because I loved the first one so much that I thought maybe I had made the expectations too high for the second one, but let me tell you, this one's exceeded my expectations. So our main character, Willa, she is the owner of Curds and Whey, which is a French-inspired cheese shop in the Sonoma Valley. and a vegan influencer who's just written a cookbook. She went to school in that area, so she's an alumni, so she's coming back to the school, and she's also going to do an event which will, at Curds and Away, which will give a lot of influence to Willa's new cheese shop. Well, turns out she might not be as vegan as she has claimed to be, and pictures prove that. And then she ends up dead. Our main suspect is Artie, who is one of the cheese shop part-time employees. And everything about this is so much fun. I love the detective in it. I also love what I assume is going to be the love interest. The part-time employees, Willa, the cheese shop. You had me at the cheese shop. This was such a fun read. I gave it 5 huge cups of coffee. Again, thank you very much to NetGalley, to the publisher, to Karina Moss. Team Cheese! I can't wait for the next one. The last book that I read this month, The Darling Delias and the Red Hot Poker, right here. This is the 10th book in the Darling Delia series by Susan Wigg Albert. This is one of my favorite series. I gave this one 3 cups of coffee. It's Labor Day weekend. It's 1935. There's a lot going on. There's going to be an upcoming election. And then there's also a firebug in town. And their fire department is called the Hot Dogs, which I thought was hilarious. But they're just trying to keep everything under control because the arsonist is getting out of control. There's going to be a senator coming into town that's running for election to give a speech. And I really, really enjoy this series. I enjoy the simplicity of it. I enjoy the tidbits about how to thrive during the Great Depression. It would be like, hey, here's how to use your shoe polish as, I don't know, wood finisher or something like that. Here's how to, stretch your supplies. I just think that it's really fun. And again, I like the everyday life and just the slow pace of the series. This one, I didn't like the election part of this book only because I felt like it paralleled too much into what is going on now. And it just felt, it was just too much reality for me. Again, really enjoyed the book overall. I gave it 3 cups of coffee. One of my favorite series, just not my favorite in the series. All right, that was my last read of the month. Let's talk about my favorites. So I have 2. I can never narrow it down to 1. So my 2 favorites of the month aren't going to be a huge surprise, I don't think. The first one is Gone for Gouda. Amazing. I can't recommend that series enough. And my second favorite of the month was the biggest surprise as well, which was Last Pen Standing. I absolutely love these reads, and I can't wait to get to the next in the series. Let me know what your favorites of the month were. Give me a big thumbs up for this video, and until next time, may all you future reads be 5 stars. Bye, everybody!